Hi guys, it's Usernamekate and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here at Halliwell Jones Motorrad in Chester and we are riding the R1300 GS ASA. So that is the automated shift assist. So if you want to find out how I get on with this bike, then keep watching. Right guys, so here it is, just to look at. It looks exactly like a normal R1300 GS. You wouldn't know any different unless you came round and you had a look at this side where there is no clutch, where there's supposed to be one. We do still have a shifter. It isn't like DCT, so even though we don't have a clutch, we also don't have any flappy paddles or anything like that. It is just no clutch and a shifter. So with this bike we have two modes. We have drive and we have manual. Now with the drive mode, you pop it in drive, which you have to press on the button. There is a button that says D/M. You press that, it'll pop it into drive. From there, the bike will do all the thinking for you in terms of gear changes. So when you set off, you just go, and then the bike will think, right, we need second gear now, we need third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and so on, and it will just do it for you. When you're braking, it'll register that you're braking, it'll think, okay, we should probably drop a gear now, drops a gear, and then when you come to a complete stop, it will drop to first gear, and then if you want to set off again, you're away. So that's drive. Then we have the manual mode, which does require a little bit more human input. So again, you put it in manual, you set off without the clutch because you've no option, and then you are responsible for how long you want to hold that first gear, how long you want to hold that second, and so on. And you have the power to shift up and control it so that you're not reliant on the bike to change it. So with manual, you do have to get that footwork in and shift up and down to be in the right gears that you want to be in. Right, without further ado, we're going to ride this bad boy, so come along. Well, I'm going to treat this like a morning commute. It is 8:30 in the morning. The only reason I didn't set off earlier was because it was dark and I want you guys to see what's actually going on with the bike. We're just going to use this as a big metal shield to save us. Haha. Right everybody, I am on the way to Halliwell Jones. This morning I took the BMW R1300 GS ASA automated shift assist model home last night because I was going to film yesterday for you, but one, it was chucking it down, and I'm not bothered about me at this point, I'm bothered about my poor cameras screaming for mercy. And two, I thought, you know what, I can head back out in the morning and there'll be traffic, and that'll be great to show you guys and girls just exactly what the ASA is like when it's in heavy traffic. Now I know the burning question and the burning thing that everybody wants to know is, how is this bike going to perform on, say, the hairpins of the Stelvio Pass? Well, unfortunately, I'm just in Bolton right now, so, or Abberton, whatever you want to call this part of the world. So I can't really assist you in getting your answer. Wow, that sun is bright. I've got heated grips on, I've got heated seat on, my bum be warm, my bum be toasty. So we're in a 30 right now, and it's put itself in the third gear, which is fine for me. Oh yeah, it's chilly. It's saying 7 degrees, it's gone up a bit since I set off. So I also thought by taking this bike home, hopefully it'll help me have that more like bike ownership feeling where you actually take it out of the garage, you put it in the garage, you manoeuvre it around, stuff like that. The stuff that you can't find out on a test ride, basically. So we're indicating. Normally I'd be like hovering over the clutch to put it in second. It's selected second gear itself. It's going to hold that gear. It holds the gears a bit longer in dynamic, and I'm in dynamic mode now. I will swap it into road mode so that you can see how lazily this thing rides. So it's dropping me down the box naturally in traffic. I'm on the back brake a little bit. We're in second gear. Second gear. And at 3 miles an hour it dropped into first for me. Braking, went to second then. Still in second, still in second. And pick it up. Accelerate. Okay, so it shifted nicely through that then. We got to fourth gear at 50. This is in dynamic. I feel like that might have rushed up to sixth a bit more if we were in road, so let's try it. Okay, so we're in road mode now, so we'll see what happens when we accelerate. Yeah. So we're at 40, it's just put it in 5th gear. It's not trying to cling on to the gears as long, we've just hit 6th gear. So I feel like road would probably be quite an economic mode to be in. Oh, it's just dropped me down then to 5th. So what a lot of people don't realise is that when you are in this mode, I did this by accident going home yesterday, if I want to drop it down to 4th, I can stomp on that gear and drop it down to 4th. But then, because it's still in drive mode, it will naturally pick back up, selecting the gears for you. Like now it's just dropped to 3rd. Okay, hopefully this is where the traffic's building, so let's give it a go. Have to be careful here. Traffic light camera here for any chances. We'll scotch in here. It's dropping down the gears, it's selected second for me. So yeah, what I was saying is, when you come into a stop and you're slowing down, it holds second gear for as long as it can. When you are going from a standstill and you're accelerating, it'll hold first as long as it can. So it's selected second. So go on, we'll have a wobble through here. Wibble wobble. Wibble wobble. Oh! Hello! Front certainly lifts up a bit when you set off fast. Yeah, power wheelies on this would be no problem. Now somebody asked me in the comments when I asked what do people want to know about this bike, will it shift through the gears whilst wheeling, whilst up on that, like whilst it's just got one wheel on the ground? And you'd like to think so, but that's not something that I can personally put to the test. And we're off. So one thing that I really actually do like about this is when you set off, when it's in drive 1, it's not a really aggressive throttle. It doesn't launch you forward. I feel that's definitely a bit of a trait with e-clutch. Don't get me wrong, that's a Honda's new system. With e-clutch you can set off quite smooth, but it's not always guaranteed. Whereas with this, if you just apply a normal throttle, sometimes you've actually got to give it a bit more than you think to get it to move, which is kind of the opposite experience that I had with the e-clutch, where you've really got to baby the throttle to set off quite gently and controlled. Well, not controlled, but smooth. Whereas with this, you've got to give it more throttle to get it to go, which I think is better than the other option, because nobody likes an unexpected oh shit start, if that makes sense. I wonder, will this guy cut this lane? Hopefully not, because I'm coming through. We'll be patient here, just because up there we can see that there's a van indicated, so I don't want to overtake it to have nowhere to go and chop it up. Oh, but I can see it's opened up now, so that's fine. Selecting all the way down. And when you stop, then it selects first gear. I'm going to put it in manual. There's a little button there, D and M. Press that, so it jumps into manual mode there. Now, as you can see, it swaps. So from D, the D is big and the gear that you're in is small. When you put it in manual, the gear that you're in is big and the M is not so much of an important feature, so it's smaller. Although a little bit of criticism is, it is quite small. Like, my eyes are great, I've got 20/20 vision with contact lenses. Yeah, even I think it's a bit small to look at, but it's just personal preference, I guess. It's in manual mode, so you've got to shift with the shifter that's there. So to set off, so in manual mode, when you shift up the box, it's really smooth, but it almost feels like there's a bit of a delay. So for example, up the box, you click it, you don't even feel anything, especially 5th to 6th, but there's like a very split second delay, almost like in the time it would take for you to pull the clutch in and release the clutch. We've got to manually shift down the gears now. It's a bit stiff on the old and very interesting. Okay, let's go. So change gear before I tipped in. Seemed like a sensible thing to do. Okay. I've also noticed that there is a little arrow that does appear on the screen, which is advising you to either go up a gear or down a gear, whatever it thinks would be best. Oh, this time yesterday when I filtered up here, it was heavy with it. Right, I'm going to put it back in drive mode, just so that I can talk and I don't have to engage much brain. So you can just set off creeping. In road mode, it changes mile an hour up at 16 miles an hour. So I'm just trying to theoretically apply like what would happen if you was on a hairpin, but of course you've got so many other things to consider when you're on a hairpin, such as the gradient, how steep it is, the camber, all things that are like slowing down the natural momentum of the bike. So it's kind of hard to say and talk about it with any confidence. Okay, so in 4th gear, we're braking. It's double dropped it down to 2nd for the bend. That was nice. Now it's gone up. Accelerating, it's gone up. Hello M6, we meet again. Wow, look at this. Yes, this will be a good test. Okay, well, I'm going to try it in manual, because I want to try it in manual. And then we'll try a bit of filtering in auto. But we'll just see what this is all about first. So yeah, this may not be a hairpin, guys, in the depths of the Stelvio. Oh, I feel like it just dropped it for me anyway, because I forgot to change. Did it? Or is that my imagination? Okay, so we've got steady but slow traffic at the minute. I am hoping I get an opportunity to filter so I can show you guys its characteristics. So it's very much surprised me. It's so easy to use, and I do have experience with e-clutch and with DCT, albeit, to be transparent, the only DCT I've tried was on their smaller NC750. So that had like the one that I rode anyway, the year of NC that I rode, had like a physical handbrake on the bar that you pulled up. So I haven't ridden any of the DCTs with like that weird little handbrake that kind of looks like a shrunken clutch but right near the handguard. I haven't experienced an Africa Twin with that. But with the NC750 that I used in Gran Canaria, when I was doing the hairpins, and there were many of them, I was finding that I was having to use the flappy paddles to set myself up for the hairpin, to almost get myself to a stop, put it in first gear, obviously still moving, but make sure it's in first before committing to like a real steep hairpin, because when I was committing to hitting the hairpin at a bit of a more faster pace, it would want to change it up to second gear whilst I was mid hairpin. And when you're on like off camber and it's really steep, it can be a bit like, oh like usually you're alright and you've got it, but it's still a bit unnerving. So like all of you guys, I'd love to watch a YouTube video with a rider taking it around some really tight hairpins. Today all I can give you is commuting traffic. Lucky you. ASA, but we're going to drop it down to 4th gear with ASA, set to 75. As it accelerates, will it change? Will it change? Oh, of course it won't, it's in manual. Okay, that's a slightly flawed test, Kate. Use your brain, you silly oaf. So this is something that I'll have to set up, because obviously it's going to be in, say, 6th gear at these speeds. So what I'll do, I'll drop it to 4th, I'll put the active cruise on, and then I'll switch it to drive, and we'll see. Okay, yeah, it changed it. It's jumped up to 6th gear, so it does just work like normal with the adaptive cruise control. Another question that I've had popping up is, will a GS ASA be good off-road? That's a difficult question to answer without going off-road. I was having a chat with Mike about this last night, just to kind of gauge his thoughts as a competent off-road rider, because I'm just a wobbler. And Mike seems to think that, you know, for green lanes and, you know, just kind of general light off-roading, that probably the 1% of customers that own a GS would do. He said it will probably make the job easier, but he said for somebody that's probably more of an advanced off-road rider who wants to just be able to pop the clutch and have that ultimate like clutch control for doing more harder technical things, he thinks it would probably make the job a bit harder. What do you guys think? Please let me know in the comments. Right, look at that. And I'm stopping. No, I'm not. It's kept it in second, and it picks it up pretty quick. It's letting me commit to the bend in second, and now it's shifted into third. One thing that I really like about this is that you can just switch it from drive to manual at the touch of a button. There's no closed throttle to activate. It literally just does it, so you can change it so fast. Like now we're in manual, drop down to third. You can actually rev it without it shifting, because you are in control. You don't have a clutch, but you don't need it. You just manually work through the gears. Does it help you out though in manual? Let's try. We'll shift up, 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 and we'll go real slow, where I would normally be in like stroppy territory, like now. And we'll see if it drops down, because it can't do it, or it doesn't want to do it. So braking. Oh, this is good. Yes, it drops down for you. So even manual, it's in it's in manual, my foot is doing nothing, but it dropped down to 4. Probably because it's like, alright Kate, you're taking the mick now. Like, we can't be in this gear any longer. Stop being a clown. So I guess even if you've been used to having it in drive and then you put it in manual and completely forget you've put it in manual mode and you just cutting about in really high gears, it's going to be like, come on, you can't be in this gear. So we're in second gear, but we're coming up to a roundabout that we're going to have to navigate. So I'm on the brakes here, we've got this Corsa bibbing round, 9 mile an hour, second gear fine. I like that. It comes, it goes into first gear when you are literally at a stop, and I really like that because that doesn't just like unnecessarily upset the bike early. That's good, I like that. See, we've just gone up to third gear now. We'll be turning here. So now we stop and it goes into first as we stop. I think that's great. Super. It's just the same, manual one, put the stand out, shuts off. P comes up, goes into park, and then that means that it's like it's in gear so the bike won't roll. The only problem is with this is when you switch it off and it's completely off and the screen goes down and you leave it in your garage overnight. When you come to it and you're in your dressing gown to get it out like I was this morning, I went to push it out and it was locked, and you can't just select neutral and come out of the garage being able to push it. It's just locked, so you have to get your key, you have to come to it, you have to press this button so that everything switches on. You see that it's in park, you press this button just once. Sorry, you pull the brake in, it gives you clues. You press it once and then it goes into neutral, so then you can actually move it around. But if you didn't know that like I didn't, and I was like, hang on a minute, so I fired it up and then made sure that I could push it out of the garage. But yeah, if you just press that button, it puts it in neutral so that you can move it around. But then when you switch it off, it doesn't go back into park, so it is still in neutral. So then if you press it again, it's still in neutral. You'd have to fire it up and then you'd have to press the off button, and then is it still in neutral? Yeah, it's still gone in neutral. So to get it back in park, I'm not sure how you do that actually. In fact, maybe have to move the bike like with the throttle. Let's have a look. Is it? Yeah, so let's try it. So we switch it back on. It should say neutral because it's just what I put it in. So if we fire it up with the brake pulled in, because you can only start it with the brake pulled in, then stomp on the shifter. Oh, it's because the side stands down, that's it. So on the shifter, move it forward. Then if we stop it, it should be locked. Yeah, it's locked. So that's what you have to think about, because I like being able to just go in my garage, knock it into neutral, pull it out the garage, not have to go and get the key to put it in, but it does stay in that. So if you remember to do it before you leave the bike in the garage, then it won't be a problem in the morning. You've just got to remember, haven't you? And that's half the battle. For all you eagle-eyed viewers, you will know that I filmed my intro to this today because when I took this bike away from Halliwell Jones yesterday, it was chucking it down. There was no way I was going to get the cameras out and get them drenched. And also, you know what, I thought this might be a nice time to get familiar with it, because I thought I might need to, you know, a bit of bonding time with it to pick it up. No, I didn't. I picked it up probably within 10 minutes. I was pretty used to it. trialling out the drive modes, trialling out the manual modes, and to be honest, I actually find this system really, really good. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love to have a clutch. I like my own input. I like to have control, especially with the slow situations, but I know that slow riding is a worry with people with the new ASA. Let me tell you, it doesn't have to be. This is so good at slow speeds that it actually shocked me. Now, I would love to take one of these where there's lots of hairpins, but I think personally the best thing would be to just put it in manual and just shift yourself, because it's not going to change gear on you mid-bend then, which is quite nice. And also I like the fact that with the drive mode on this and how it works, it literally drops into first when you come to pretty much a complete stop, and it just takes that horrible like feeling where you're coming up to a red light and it drops into first a little bit too soon, and then it goes to green, and then you whack it on, and then it instantly needs to change to second, and then it goes because you're in first gear, and it just becomes a whole mess. You don't get that with this. Honestly, I'm trying to find bad things to say about it, but I honestly really enjoyed it. Mike was waiting for me on the drive. I pulled up and I was like, I love it, because I honestly do. I filtered in really heavy traffic in the rain. I tried it in auto and it was fine, but I just like to control my gears in manual when I was, doing the really slow stuff. It'll handle it in drive absolutely fine, but for me, manual was my preference. I'm really gutted that I didn't get to show you the heavy traffic in this. I did wake up with the intention of setting off around rush hour time, but when I saw 5 degrees, I thought, I'll let it warm up a little bit first, because it's just so cold. But yeah, honestly, I'm really struggling to say a bad thing about it. I haven't ridden all that many Honda DCTs. I've only ridden one, and that was the NC, so it's not really a weighty girl. And I rode it in the Canary Islands, and it had the flappy paddles, and that's what I would do to make sure that I was knocked it down into first gear before I took a hairpin. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this. Don't get me wrong, if I had the choice between this and a normal clutch, because I don't have like arthritic hands and I quite enjoy that element of my own input, I think I'd personally go for a clutch. But if I had to ride around all day on this, it's very good, and it's not fatiguing at all, because the bike kind of does a lot for you. And it is a bit of a dilemma, because I do enjoy it and I do think it's brilliant, but also I want the choice to stay. Like, I don't want everybody to be like, oh, this is so amazing, so that everything goes this way, because choice is nice, and I know the markets are guided by trends and what people want. So, but no, very surprised. Didn't think I'd like it this much. I thought, because I know Teapot One Bruce really kind of didn't gel with it, and he said he didn't like it, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna like it. Nah, I really liked it. Sorry, Bruce, we don't share the same opinion on this one, I'm afraid. Maybe he's just more of a hooligan than I am, who knows. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video on Halliwell Joneses. That's a plug. If you're ever in the area and you want a GS or a BMW of any nature, definitely check them out for new and used motorcycles. Finance, cash, delivery, no delivery, they'll sort you out. But yeah, thank you to them guys for allowing me out loose on their R1300 GS ASA. It's been a pleasant experience. I've really enjoyed it, and if one of these was offered to me as like a loan bike or a demo bike, I would have no hesitation hopping on it. I wouldn't be whinging. I'd actually be quite happy. Right guys, do you like these? Let me know if you're for ASA or against ASA in the comments below. It's always really cool to hear what you guys think. Alright, until the next one, take care. Bye!